All right, today's lesson's on 9.4, and our purpose statement is the student will be able to do the sequencing of steps with functions involving addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, and composition. So a lot of this is really similar to what you've done already in Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 earlier this year. Difference is it's going to look a little bit different. So notation function operations. For addition, it can be written one of two ways. It can be written f plus g of x, or it can be written f of x plus g of x, and f minus g of x, or f of x minus g of x, and f times g of x, or f of x times g of x, and f divided by g of x, or f of x divided by g of x. It doesn't make any difference which way it's written. It means to do the same thing. So, as an example, if I tell you that f of x is equal to 2x minus 3, and g of x equals, let's go 3x plus 5, then when they ask me to do f plus g of x, whether it's written this way or this way, doesn't make any difference. All I do is I take those two functions. F is 2x minus 3 plus g of x, 3x plus 5, and then it becomes a basic addition problem. We combine our like terms. 2x plus 3x is 5x, and negative 3 plus 5 is plus 2, and we're done. That's all we have to do. No change. If I was to take the second one, f minus g of x, or again, it can be written that way, that would be 2x minus 3 minus 3x plus 5. Now remember, when we do subtraction, we want to change it to addition and change both signs. And so now that becomes 2x plus a negative 3x is a negative x, and negative 3 plus a negative 5 is a negative 8. And so we get negative x minus 8. Let's do multiplication. F times g of x, or again, f of x times g of x. That would be written 2x minus 3 times 3x plus 5. And then we would just do our claw method or FOIL or double distributive, doesn't make any difference. 2x times 3x is 6x squared. 2x times 5 is 10x, negative 3 times 3x is a negative 9x, so that gives me a plus x, and then negative 3 times 5 is a negative 15. So that would be multiplication. And lastly, the division would simply be f of x, 2x minus 3 over 3x plus 5. Now with division, you should always try and factor these if possible. In this case, neither one factors. But in case they did, so you could cancel like factors. So that's the first part of what you're going to be doing today, is they're going to give you different functions, and they're going to give you expressions. Now we can add functions. Let's add a h of x equals x minus 7. Okay? So it doesn't make any difference what they ask you now. But what they can do is they could write it one of two ways. Usually they'll write it this way. They'll go like, let's do g plus h. But instead of x, I'm going to put a negative 3. Okay? You have your choice. You can do it one of two ways. You could add g of h together first. So we could go 3x plus 5 plus x minus 7 and get 4x minus 2. And then we could plug in negative 3. So that would be negative 12 minus 2, and we'd get negative 14. So that would be one way to do it. The second way to do it is we can just plug in negative 3 into both of those. So if I plug negative 3 in here, I get 3 times negative 3, which would be negative 9, plus 5 would be a negative 4. And plug in negative 3 here, and negative 3 minus 7 would be a negative 10. And then I can add those together and get negative 14. So it doesn't make any difference which way you do it. But this is what they'll be asking you to do on part of the assignment. Addition, subtraction. The only change is if they put a number in here, that just means either you add the functions together or subtract them or multiply or divide, whatever the operation is, and then plug in the value, or plug the value in first, get the totals, and then do the addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. The part that's going to be a little confusing, which hopefully we can clear up, is composite functions. Now, you haven't worked with this before, but it's not real complicated. Composite functions are simply written this way. This f open circle g, so it's read f of g of x. So f of g of x. And it can be written either this way, that'd be one way to write it, or that way, it's the same thing. It simply means, in this case, you plug g of x in for x in f of x. So if we go back to those functions we had here before, let me just bring those down. F of x is 2x minus 3. G of x is 3x plus 5. And h of x is x minus 7. So if they ask me to do f of g of x, I simply take f, my first expression, but when I come to the x value, I'm going to replace the x value in here with the function from g. So 3x plus 5, and then I write the rest of the problem, minus 3. And now it's a basic algebra problem. We just simplify this. So distribute the 2, you get 6x plus 10 minus 3, so 6x plus 7, and we're done. So we're taking in the function. The second function goes into the first function. So let's do g of f of x and take a look at the difference here. Now I start with g, 3, but when I come to x, I'm going to replace it with f, 2x minus 3. And then we have our plus 5. And again, we simplify that. So 6x minus 9 plus 5, so 6x minus 4. So it's not real complicated as long as you remember you start with the first one, and when you come to the variables, you plug the second one in. Now, it could get more complicated. We could do g of f of h of x. Okay? If I do g of f of h, now I want to start with these two. So I'm going to start with f and go 2, and again when I replace the x, so I'm going to write everything, we're f, and so it's minus 3, but now I'm going to replace the x with the h value, so I'm going to plug in x minus 7. Then I simplify this, that gives me 2x minus 14 minus 3, so 2x minus 17. Now I can do the g of this. So now I go to g, 3 plus 5, but I'm going to replace the x with this 2x minus 17. And again, I do the same thing. I simplify it. 6x minus 51 plus 5. And so this whole expression would equal 6x minus 46. And I'm done. Only other thing they're going to ask you to do do a different expression. Let's do f of x equals 2x plus 5 and g of x equals 3x minus 2. Okay? And let's do g of f of negative 3. All right? So again, there's two ways you can do it. The first way is you can do the function first. so I plug f into g. So 3, again, so I write this down, I replace the x with the 2x plus 5. And so we get 6x plus 15 minus 2, so 6x plus 13. And now I plug in the negative 3. So 6 times negative 3 is a negative 18 plus 13. So this equals negative 5. That would be one way to do it. The other way to do it is you can plug negative 3 into f. So I'm going to go here and plug in negative 3. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6 plus 5 is a negative 1. And then I plug that negative 1 into g. 3 times the negative 1 is negative 3 minus 2 is a negative 5. And you can see you get the same answer either way. It doesn't make any difference. So the big things are, be careful on that you take your notation, add, subtract, multiply, or divide the functions. If they put a variable in, again, you can plug it in first and then do the operation, or you can do the operation then plug it in. And then this f of g, remember, you plug the second one into the first one, into the value for x. So hopefully that is fairly easy for you. Your assignment is page 686, numbers 15 to 29, the odds, 30 to 33 all, 35 to 39 the odds, and 40 to 43 all. So good luck with that.